Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. I'm your host, Mathilde, and you are listening to Effortless French Pronunciation. This is a special pronunciation series from the French Made Easy podcast and specifically designed for French beginners wanting to perfect their pronunciation. Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome back to the French Made Easy podcast. Today we are learning the pronunciation of the French expression au revoir, which means goodbye. So in this episode, we will deconstruct the expression sound by sound. I'll give you the pronunciation of the slow version, au revoir, and I'll give you the pronunciation of the fast, more casual version, au revoir. And then I'll share a few sentences with you so you can practice your pronunciation. So au revoir is used, as I was saying before, to say goodbye in French. The word-for-word translation is until we see each other again. Now, au revoir is not formal per se, but it is a little bit more formal than just saying salut, which means bye as well as hi, and that's a little bit more casual. Now, on that note, I've also created an episode on 10 ways to say goodbye in French. So if all goes well, it should come out this Tuesday. So it will be a nice continuation from this episode. All right, so now let's deconstruct the pronunciation of the expression au revoir. I'll break it down for you. Au revoir, if pronounced slowly, or au revoir, if pronounced faster. So as you can hopefully hear, au revoir, au revoir, there's a slight difference in pronunciation, but don't worry, I will explain both of them. So let's start now with the slow version, au revoir, au revoir. So we start with the letter combination AU. And in French, it is most of the time, not always, but most of the time pronounced au. Au. Simple enough. Au. Now let's move on to the next part of the expression, revoir, literally meaning to see again. Revoir. So first we have the lovely French R. It sounds a little bit as if you are clearing your throat gently. But for a more detailed lesson on how to pronounce the French R, you can listen to episode number 21. Next, we've got the letter I. E. So there's a few different ways to pronounce the I in French, but here in this particular word, it is pronounced E. E. Now this letter, the letter I in this word, is a little special. It is called un E muet or a mute I in English, meaning that it is often dropped by French speakers in fast, casual speech. But give me a few minutes. I'll talk about this type of I a little bit later in the episode, but nevertheless, it is pronounced E. So far, we have au re. Au re. Now, the last part of this expression is voir. Voir. Now, the V is pronounced just like in English, v, so nothing complicated here. And the combination of letters OI is pronounced wa. Wa. And then you've got the R again. So that gives us voir. Voir. And now, if we are putting everything together, we have au revoir. Au revoir. Repeat after me. Au revoir. Super. So now that we all know the, let's say, basic pronunciation of that word, if you are not too overwhelmed and you're ready for a little bit more, I will teach you the version that is mainly used by French speakers in fast speech. And again, I always say that. But for beginners, learn to pronounce the words properly, learn the rules, and then when you're ready, you can start playing a little bit with the pronunciation. All right, so pronunciation of au revoir in fast speech. Au revoir. Au revoir. So there's a few differences in pronunciation here. Listen to that. Au revoir and au revoir. Au revoir au revoir. So we've got two pronunciation differences. First, with the E sound that seem to have disappeared, and with the O sound. Listen again. Au revoir, au revoir. So let's start with the sound E. So in spoken French, fast speech, when there's a mute E, pronounced E, we can drop it. There are rules around it, but to make it short and quick for you today, in this expression, we can drop it. So attention, not in writing, right? In speech, not in writing. So if we drop this E, we are not going to say au revoir anymore. We're going to say au revoir. I've dropped the E sound. Au revoir, drop the E, au revoir. Now this particular E, le E, that we can drop in casual fast speech, is called le E muet in French, or the mute E in English. Now, in the sounds of French, also known as the IPA chart for French, which, by the way, you can and you should download for free. I've created one for you. It includes all the sounds of French with word examples and audio. So in this sounds of French cheat sheet, you will see that the mute E, le E muet, is represented by a special symbol. It is a reversed E. Now, this symbol indicates that in casual speech, this E can be dropped. So it can be silent. So back to our expression, au revoir, the drop of the E, the drop of the E was the first change from au revoir to au revoir. Now, something else happens in this expression if we drop the E. Something happens to the sound O, made by the letters A, U together. Now, I'm not going to go into too much technical pronunciation detail, but if we decide to drop the E, we are now pronouncing au revoir in a single word, right? Not two separate words. Au revoir. So the letters AU that were creating the sound O change to a sound O. Slight difference in pronunciation. O, 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 O. But still a difference in pronunciation, right? Two different sounds. O, 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 O. Hopefully you can hear the difference. O, O. So au revoir becomes au revoir. Au revoir, au revoir. And look, that also depends on the accents, the regions, etc. But usually people would say in speech au revoir and not au revoir. Now, this was a little bit technical, so don't panic. If you are not ready for that step yet, you can just say au revoir. That's absolutely fine. But at least you are aware of both pronunciation. Au revoir, au revoir. Now, let's practice together with some sentences. Au revoir et à demain. Goodbye and see you tomorrow. Au revoir et à demain. And if you want to do it faster, au revoir et à demain. Au revoir et à demain. Next one. Je dis toujours au revoir avant de partir. I always say goodbye before leaving. Je dis toujours au revoir avant de partir. Now, if you do want to say it fast, you can also drop the E from avant de partir. Listen to that. Je dis toujours au revoir avant de partir. Je dis toujours au revoir avant de partir. Last one. On se dira au revoir à l'aéroport. We will say goodbye to each other at the airport. On se dira au revoir à l'aéroport. And if you want to say it faster, you can also drop the E, because that's a mute E, from on se dira. On se dira au revoir à l'aéroport. On se dira au revoir à l'aéroport. All right, so that wraps up our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to download your free Sounds of French cheat sheet from the website. All the links are in the episode notes. It's got all the French sounds, example words, and audio to help you practice your pronunciation. I always ask my students to study the French sounds first because it's super important to help you improve your pronunciation. All right, so au revoir et à bientôt.